Welcome back to the Antler Studios development blog, the show where we look at our game Project Grove's development. Project Grove is a 3D puzzle platformer made in UE4. If you want to check out the game itself, you can go to the link below and you can play the prologue, which is free on Steam now. Today in this video we'll be talking about our quality assurance and testing process on the prologue and the woes we went through and the struggles we went through and some of the successes. Hopefully you'll learn something from this video and our experiences. We've sort of grouped it into our top 3 tips for doing QA on a really tight budget. Some things to note about the QA process and how it went for us. First off, the real heroes of the story are not us, the developers, it's our Discord community members. And they not only helped us by playing the game and giving us feedback, they would record their playthroughs for us. They gave us loads of extra feedback in sort of essay form on our Discord, which was just amazing to see that anyone would take the time to do that. And lastly, not only would they do all that on their first playthrough, they would play it again and again whenever we would patch it and fix things to see if bugs would reappear. So if you're one of those people, thank you so much. The other area of note that I'm not going to talk about in our top 3 tips, but we did look at was QA agencies. One of the big issues we had was getting volume, getting that quantitative data from volume playtesting. And whilst the community members were great at giving qualitative feedback, that data and quantitative feedback is difficult to get from just a small number of playtesters, and that's why we looked into agencies. For the prologue, we ended up not using one. Definitely something we want to use on the full game, but we couldn't really justify the cost yet. If you're on a small budget, I suggest you look at some because maybe you can find one that gives you a good deal. Of course, it depends on the game and the type of project you're working on. The last thing to say before we get on to the top tips is that the QA process on this prologue ended up being really long and a real slog and a real struggle for us. So hopefully you can look at the things that we did wrong and look at what we're saying now and learn from our mistakes and do it in a better way. It's always going to be a long process and it's always going to be heartbreaking as a developer, seeing people not be able to play your game, seeing people get stuck on menus and UI, seeing people have crashes and bugs. But these are all things that you'll get through, that your game will survive and that you'll be able to fix. Now onto our top tips. Number 1, proper internal playtesting. A lot of people think you just need to play the game over and over and over again. And whilst there is an element that you just need to play over and over and over again, there is a way that you can playtest internally as someone who knows everything about the game that will still give you useful feedback. Using yourselves to find core issues and bugs is a key part of playtesting because it doesn't use up your valuable resource of blind playtesters finding those really obvious things. Every time you approach an area of your game, think about what would I do if I was a new player who had never seen this before? Is there something I would see or think or do or not understand? And those are some key areas where you can put in some fixes that will mean that your first round of playtesting will go a lot smoother. Don't worry if you can't get everything at this stage. There will be lots of issues appearing. It always happens. Our top tip number 2 is do video playtests. Either do live playtests where you watch the person on Google Hangouts, Discord, or one of these things when you just watch them all the way through. However, a lot of people find that quite uncomfortable and they might play differently if that's the case. So what we found was good at asking people just to screen record their playtest. What this really helped was being able to see the exact steps that led up to a bug or an issue, or if someone was confused and couldn't get through a certain area, it meant that we could see what bit of information they missed, what bit of information maybe didn't pop up. It's a really, really helpful way to get really good data from a small number of playtests. The one thing to note about live playtests is as a game developer, you need to swallow your pride. Just listen and watch the playtest. Don't try and help. Don't get angry or frustrated when someone doesn't get something because it's your fault 99% of the time. Especially if you've got a small number of playtesters who are giving you their time. Give them a little bit of respect and make sure you diligently watch and listen and learn from how they play. Our third top tip for QA on a budget is to time your playtests correctly. What I mean by this is think about what features are coming in and what do you actually want to get playtest. If you need to wait a week for a timed playtest because a new feature isn't quite ready, then wait. Don't waste your precious resource of willing playtesters on unfinished features and things that you know are problems. With that unfinished features, you also want to make sure that everything you playtest externally goes through rigorous internal playtesting first. Because if there's an obvious bug right at the beginning of the game, players won't be able to get over it. They won't be able to playtest the rest of the playthrough properly. Make sure that A, you either have new features or new fixes to test when you do a round of playtesting. B, make sure that everything that goes out to external playtesting has had rigorous internal playtesting so that there are no really obvious bugs. The game doesn't need to be perfect to go into external playtesting. If someone's signed up to do playtesting, they understand that it's a demo and it's in progress, but it does need to be in a good state with no really clear, obvious game-breaking bugs. Hopefully this has been helpful to some of you out there, learning from our mistakes and the things that we did wrong and some of the things that we did right. If you want to get in touch with us or become a playtester, then join the Discord community from the link down below or on our website. If you do like the look of the project, then go play the full prologue on Steam now. It's on there for free. If you would rather wait for the full game, then go wishlist that on Steam as well. It really does help us out understanding what's going on and who's interested. Thanks so much for watching. Have a lovely rest of your day.